You probably think recessions are accidents.
That they just happen.
Kind of like bad weather, right? Unpredictable, unavoidable.
But what if that's not true? What if they're not accidents at all? What if they're engineered on purpose?
Yeah. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden mechanics of the economy. We're going to look at something called the recession machine, how it's engineered, and more importantly, who really ends up paying the price.
And that brings us right to the heart of the mystery, doesn't it? It's a question that probably hits close to home for you. How is it that when the economy gets worse for just about everyone, the rich seem to get, well, richer?
It's like it's a tale of two completely different recessions happening at the same time. For you, for most of us, it means jobs vanish, debt gets heavier, small businesses, maybe even one you know, just die. But for them, oh, it's a different story. Stocks bounce back, big corporations get even bigger, and they get to buy up assets for cheap.
So, how is that possible? How can a crisis for millions be a golden opportunity for a few? It just doesn't add up, right?
Well, to get it, you have to change the way you think about what a recession even is. See, it's not about money disappearing into thin air. It's about money getting expensive. So here's a new definition for you. A recession isn't just a downturn. It's a period when money becomes expensive. Because credit, loans, mortgages, all of it, gets super tight. And that freeze, it stops spending cold. It kills business growth. It vaporizes jobs. That's the recession.
And it doesn't just happen. There's a playbook, an engineered freeze, step by step. First, you get rising inflation. So what do the central banks do? They crank up interest rates. Suddenly, getting a loan for a house, a car, or your business becomes way more expensive. So what do? You stop spending. Everyone stops spending, and boom. That's how you deliberately put the brakes on the entire economy.
You'll hear them say it on the news, right? The officials with their very careful words, we must slow the economy. But let's translate that. What they really mean is, we must slow you. Your spending, your plans, your life.
So the big question is, why? Why on earth would they do this? Why engineer something that causes so much pain for so many people? There's an unspoken reason. Okay, look at this. When inflation is high, something interesting happens for workers. Your wages might actually go up, and that big pile of debt you have, it gets a little easier to pay back because the money's worth less. But for the people who lend money and own a ton of assets, for them, inflation is a 5-alarm fire. It literally eats away at the value of their wealth. And that brings us to the core of it. A recession is presented as the cure for inflation. But really, it's the price that society is forced to pay to protect the value of all those financial assets.
And here's the thing. That price isn't paid by everyone equally. Oh no, the pain of a recession doesn't hit everyone the same way.
So who gets hit first? It's always the same people. Anyone with debt, anyone living paycheck to paycheck, small businesses with no big safety net, renters, young people just trying to get started. They have absolutely no cushion. They're the economy's shock absorbers.
And all of this chaos, all this pain, it sets the stage for the most important part of the whole machine. The part nobody is supposed to talk about. It's what's called the Great Wealth Transfer.
And this says it all, really. For you, it's a disaster. But for the wealthy, this is a sale, a once-in-a-decade shopping spree.
Think about it. While regular folks are forced to sell just to survive, people with cash are ready to buy. They scoop up real estate. They buy up stocks that have cratered. They even buy whole companies that couldn't make it through the storm. It's the biggest discount event you'll ever see.
And that's why the recovery always feels so fake, doesn't it? The news will tell you asset prices are up, corporate profits are soaring, the market is healed. But what do you feel? Your wages are stuck, your rent is still sky high, and that debt is still hanging over your head. The system recovers, but you don't.
So let's just put it all together. Let's look at the final, simple truth of this whole thing. Because once you see how the machine works, you can't unsee it.
Recessions are not accidents. They are controlled slowdowns that methodically transfer wealth from people who work for a living to people who own for a living.
So, the next time you hear that this pain is necessary, that we all have to tighten our belts for the good of the economy, you have to ask yourself one simple question. Necessary for whom?